once again, everybody. Davey Davis here with Far and Wide, the show that takes you to interesting places and faces, stories that go along with them. And today we're standing in Grand Targhee Resort. I'm standing here with my cousin, Dana Stilson, longtime friend and cousin, who is a snowcat guide at Grand Targhee, and you've been here 8 years, Dana. Is that correct? And right up behind us is your domain, really,
Yep.
isn't it?
That's my snow. That's peaking now.
Now, you said you had, it's been socked in for 10 days, and suddenly we've got blue sky for the last, high pressure came in.
We had a Christmas blizzard, and it snowed for 7 days, and we had about 7 feet of snow.
Wow. So the conditions are great. It's kind of like packed powder and etc. Mix of things, and what a great ski area, Grand Targhee. This is a wonderful place. We can't tell too many people about it because it's probably the best kept secret anywhere.
It's a fine place to be.
It's excellent. So we've got, we came up on the Sacagawea lift, named after the famous Indian woman that assisted Lewis and Clark. And the Teton this Teton area it's an Indian thing, isn't it? With Teton, that's an Indian name.
No, actually, Teton is a French name.
What's French?
Some of the early people in the valley here were French trappers, and Teton means breast in French.
Oh.
Now, there are 3 of them, and I'm not quite sure how that worked out, but maybe they'd just been out in the wild too long. But actually, Tiwanaut was the Indian name for the peaks.
And so the Indians predominantly around here were Shoshone and what you said?
Bannock?
Bannock.
Yeah, in fact, Targhee, the name Targhee was an Indian chief back in the mid-1800s. He was a good Indian, you know, tried to get along with everybody. And the other part of the name, Grand, just refers to the Grand Teton, which is just 6 miles on the other side of Peaked here.
Yeah. Terrific. What a panoramic view we have here. It's phenomenal. So we got like, I don't know, three major lifts here. Probably what, 5 altogether, but 3 major ones across this whole panoramic view here.
2 more in the planning stage.
So the snowcat thing, we're going to go with you on Thursday.
Right.
So tell us what we can expect.
Well, that's part of our terrain there, and then we ski down into Teton Canyon here, the forest primeval. There's a certain amount of trees in Targhee National Forest, which some people get taken aback by, but pretty good tree skiing out here. We don't have much fresh snow, and we've got a lot of sun, so there's a little crust out, but we'll find some good snow.
I'll tell you, skiing back east, this is certainly heaven for us. It's paradise. And
well, if it's not heaven, you can see heaven from here.
You can see heaven from here, that's for sure. And Dana, we want to thank you. We're so lucky because we've had a wonderful guide. Dana's been guiding us around, keeping us from going in places we shouldn't be. And it's just been great, Dana. And,
well, my pleasure. Glad you could come out and I can share this with you.
Thank you. Let's go do some skiing.
Works for me.
All right.
Targhee watching a paraglider trash. No. He's just doing a little death spiral. I wouldn't worry about it. Appears to be under control. Beautiful day for flying. Great day for sliding on snow. On the piste. Off the piste, not so bueno. We're going to go big tomorrow. We're going to ski the William Thatcher Danford Memorial Line on Treasure Mountain, if all goes well. If it doesn't go well, we'll be memorialized soon ourselves. Whoops. So, let's see. Getting around to the point. Jeff and I haven't skied for a while together. We're going to go huge off of Treasure Mountain on an untracked 4,000-foot line.
Secret line.
Secret, top secret, can't tell. Can't tell anybody. And this is Jody. Jeffrey Newsom is my likely willing companion. Jeff and I have known one another, but he needs to talk about his elbow on camera.
Yes, he does.
We haven't talked enough about Jeff and his elbow problem today.
Jeff.
Can we talk
Tell
about
us,
Jeff?
Well,
Jeff.
long story.
Your
I don't know
opportunity to
that
tell
you,
Windsor, Vermont all about
I
your
don't know that you have enough film in that camera to cover this whole story.
The story of your life is lengthy. It's a true story.
But the elbow
Can you
is
see-
It's
can
a
you
sad
see
story.
the wax
Sad,
in my ear?
sad and true.
How's it looking now? Because I had them cleaned out in the spring, but I'm not so sure that's holding up.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
Even fake ear.
Yeah. We've been riding fakie a little bit today, trying to learn how to go backwards. That's kind of crazy. Jody's learning how to do the spin move, all because of
Yeah.
Tuffy. We're blaming that one on Tuffy.
I have to keep up with my kids. You know, they do all that crazy
God.
stuff.
Isn't it silly?
If mom can go backwards, they'll go, oh.
We're not brave enough to go
not
into
the
the
right
trauma
way.
park yet. We're avoiding the trauma park till we get through.
So I just want to know why didn't they scramble jets in time on 9/11? That's what I want to know. And why has the commission on
And furthermore-
9/11 had to subpoena
And
records
furthermore,
from the FAA, the City of New York, the Pentagon, and the White House when supposedly we're all on the same side? Now somebody tell me
No,
that.
that gets you
Somebody
thinking.
answer that.
what's up with that, dude?
I'll tell you what's up with that.
What's up with that, dude?
The terrorists are in the White House. Al Qaeda
we're
does
shredding.
not exist.
We're shredding. We're shredding the big
No,
one here.
Al Qaeda.
We're over here at the little one, actually. The big one's on the other side of the mountains.
I might have to go in and order something.
Jeff, you want some chips? Little cheese? String cheese incident? You know the string cheese incident? Pretty good band. Fun
Yeah.
pickers.
Yeah, they are.
Fun
I got
pickers.
cookies. Homemade cookies.
Homemade cookies. Jeff loves cookies. He can live off those.
Michael
Yeah.
Moore.
Michael Moore?
They've got to do the
Don't get Jeff started on Michael Moore.
string cheese has got to be the band to kind of be for the documentary, the music.
Oh, good.
Jeff's sister
His-
used
his
to
doc-
work with Michael Moore.
His documentary on 9/11, you mean? Yeah. They're getting behind the...
Jeff's sister is
It's a good
even more
program.
infamous than I am, I think, depending on your point of view.
The question is, has our oil situation gotten so desperate that they
Yes.
felt the need to pull a stunt like that?
That
That's the
desperate.
biggest question. Yeah.
That
Because
was
it's
quite
certainly
the
not
big
just
stunt.
about... It was a big stunt. And why did the
Our
Palisades Seismic Center
There you go.
record 2-point-something magnitude quakes moments before each tower came down? And why did Trade Tower 7 come down when it was not even struck by a jet? Okay? It'll be the
Why?
first time in
Yeah,
the
what's
history...
up with that?
Coffee,
It was the
thinking.
first time in the history of the world that a steel structure came down on its own.
Yeah, what's up with that?
After
dude?
blast. After blast.
Yeah.
coming how long?
5 years. I'm Erin with the Targhee Ski Patrol, and what we're doing today is just training with our dogs. And what we like to do is bury live people in snow caves that we've already dug in the snow. And so we'll bury them in the snow cave, and then we'll cover up the entrance to the snow cave, fill it back in with some snow so that it's to mimic avalanche debris. And the dogs, we've been training all season for them to come, and what they're smelling is the scent of a human coming up through the snowpack. So that's what we're going to practice here in a couple minutes. The dogs, we train them, they're rewarded usually by vigorous play when they find their subject. So it can be a toy, or I use a lost and found glove, and usually it's just a good game of tug of war, and that's what motivates the dog to find you. So we'll get going here. I need to go in and get the dog Moose's reward, so that when you're going in the hole, you'll have his reward with you. And then we'll bury you with a radio, cover you up, and let Moose find you. All right? Okay.
Well, apparently they're going to bury me in this hole back here. Kind of a worn-out old man, and that's what they do. They put you in a hole and bury you. But actually, these dogs have terrific noses, and they work in avalanche situations, and they're gonna find me in there, and I'm gonna film inside there with all the darkness. Okay, folks, this is Davey. I'm inside the cave. They're gonna bury me in here, so here we go.
Covering the entrance.
Into Davey, radio check.
And 4. Stop that. Button. Shrink. Then go back. Some of the body from button. Okay, go ahead.
What we usually do is let them stay in there for a few more minutes, and that way it leaves enough time for his scent to percolate up to the snow surface. So I'll do another radio check and let Mick know we're done. Maybe radio check.
Well,
Break 5 EV to Mick. We're ready when you are.
copy that.
Go, buddy. Get him out. Get him out. Come on, let's get him out. Come on, let's do it. Get him. Take him out of there. Come on. Take him out. Take him out. Wiggle that toy up there by his nose. Don't get him. Don't get him out of there. Get him out of there. Good work. Oh, yeah. Pull him out. Pull him out. All right, good boy.
All right. Oh, I'll tell you, folks, you be respectful of avalanches.
Yeah.
But what a great crew here. Folks and the dogs are a great team, and you can trust in them. Save a lot of lives.
It's always really good to have people that the dogs don't know to be buried, because, you know, we use each other all the time. They're like, oh, Shane again, or so it's good.
Great.
Well, by popular demand, Davey wants to hear my buffalo story. My winter camping misadventure. South of Yellowstone, there's some what they call hot pots, which are thermal holes, and it's a long way from here because they're on the other side of the Tetons, and in order to get there, it's a long drive, and it's so nice to just go there and stay. So one cool February day, I decided to go over with my 12-pack and go over and jump into a hot pot. It was glorious. Stay there all day long. I'd set my tent up all ready for the evening, and bald eagles were flying overhead, and it was just rapture. Towards dusk, a buffalo was meandering down the river, eating the vegetation that was exposed on the sides, and come to find out that's where the old buffaloes go to die because there's a lot of food for them and it's warm there. So I got out of the hot pot, jumped into my tent in my 20-degree bag with a fleece liner and all my clothes, and shivered all night long till the early morning rays, sun hit the tent. Got out of the tent after 16 hours of shivering. Was going to go jump into the hot pot, thaw out my beer, and revive myself. So I put on my frozen boots, skied around the corner, and lo and behold, that buffalo was standing up in the hot pot. And it was a fairly small hot pot, maybe 10 feet across, so not enough room to share. So I went back and took the tent down, got my pack ready, had to ski out about a mile to get to the road. Got second-degree frostbite on my fingers, just untying a couple of knots. And then I went back around the corner to see if the buffalo had perhaps vacated the hot pot, but no, the buffalo was laying down in the hot pot, obviously there for the long haul. So I had to ski back out, get back to civilization, get somebody to jump my truck because it had been 42 below that night. Coldest night they'd seen in South Yellowstone for years and years and years. There we were, but it was a survivable experience. And that's the end of the story.
I should be out in just a moment. Donna is one of our lead dogs. She knows her left from her right. She knows how to keep the line straight. She runs out in front and keeps everybody going in the right direction. She's run the Iditarod once that I know of, that I believe. She's part of our race team. She's just a real soft, lovable dog. Yeah, aren't you? Good dog. Yeah, this is our operation. It's Chad, fellow musher. How do you do?
Now, what kind of dogs are they?
They are Alaskan Huskies. With some of them have a little bit of mix here and there in them, but the Alaskan Huskies are the smaller dogs and pure muscle. They can run. They got good stamina. Can run longer distances because a lot of the big fat Siberians wear out really quickly. We got one back there. He's a good puller, but he just gets overheated and wears out. So.
Look at those orange eyes. Beautiful. Yeah.
even think you have to speak to it when you see it. When's it going to snow? You know what? We actually need some snow, and the only reason I want snow, because this weather is actually better for business, is to cover up all the poops and pees in my house because I have a new puppy. Plus, we need to get Dana back to work. So, anyway, this is pretty cool country, don't you think? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty nice. This your first time out here?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Oh,
It's great.
I love that. And I'm glad you're here when it's like this because really, it's nicer when you can see Dana, right? Come on.
If you say
Work
so.
with me. Are you guys powder skiing at all right now? Is the cat going?
We may go tomorrow or we may go Thursday. These guys are going out.
Nice,
Going out.
cool. Good, yeah. I know. Yeah, this is God's country. Sometimes we're little devils, but this is God's country.
Yeah, Susie. Well, that quieted it down pretty quick.
Yeah, they were ready to run. Oh, poor puppies. That's great. Oh my goodness. And David, where do they go? On the cross-country track?
Yeah.
Would you like a side of salsa?
Oh, actually, I'm all set
You're all
with this.
set?
Yeah.
Great. How about you, Dana?
No, I think the Tabasco worked fine.
Great. Enjoy your breakfast.
So, you grew up down in
Down in Driggs.
Down in Driggs?
Yep, all my life I've been there.
You're a
Born
horse?
and raised. Huh?
You're a horseman?
Oh yeah, got lots of horses. Got lots of horses down there.
And you've been here at the
Well, resort for 35 years.
35 years?
Yeah.
Wow. We saw you in the brochure.
Yeah, they finally put me in a brochure.
Kind of a famous guy around here.
No, yeah, been in a few movies, a lot of magazines, a lot of articles.
What do you want to tell the folks back east?
They better come out and see me. How's that?
All right.
Try those.
Poor Brian.
I ski a lot too. The avalanche triangle.
Yeah.
Well, it takes three things to make an avalanche. It takes slope angle. It needs to be steep enough to avalanche. It takes a unstable snowpack, and it takes some weather, oftentimes fresh snow and wind. And then right in the middle, you've got your trigger, which is what we are. This over here is Steve Bauble. You can see a couple of skiers up on the top there. That avalanche last January trapped an employee. And this is Mary's and the North Ridge Peaked Mountain, and those are the control routes where they throw their bombs. We snowcat them up to the top, and part of them go down the ridge, and the other part they bomb their way in and come down into the saddle between Mary's and Peaked, and control all that stuff. Very few people go up top there because there's no snow up there.
I was gonna say, it's been blown off, yeah.
And then over here on Steve Bauble, which is the wraps around through here, and that's where they shoot a lot of radical ski.
Thank you very much.
What we have here in this building is half of an FBO, which is a fixed base operation, essentially the tower at a small airport. It's the control center. I call the FBO the concierge to the skies. They can get you set up with reservations at hotels, reservation for rental cars. They can get you set up for gas, weather reports, fuel, mechanic space, hangar space, a lot of different things. And then on the other side of the building is the restaurant and the cafe. We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. We're also connected to a museum. It's a complimentary museum that all the people in the area and their guests and visitors can come and check out. And it's one man's private collection of planes that he flies very often. So that's kind of what happens inside the building here. There's a few other areas of the building designed for pilots to do their flight planning and contact the airports that they're flying to. There's showers here so they can clean up a little bit. There's also a lounge for them to rest and relax and away from the hubbub of the other activities going on down here. So let's take a look around the rest of the building and show you some neat things.
All right.
All right, in this area of the building is the flight planning area where the pilots are able to come over to our high-speed computer, use the computer for weather checking. They also can do their flight planning there. There's maps and charts here that are current and up to date for the pilots to use. There's also a private phone booth for the pilots to call their family or the expecting airport. You know, in the private aircraft world, the plane leaves when the passengers are ready. It's normally the plane leaves and you gotta get there. Well, it's different here. So the pilots sometimes will have hours and hours on their hands to kill waiting for their passengers to arrive. I'll show you another part of the building. These aircrafts here in the museum fly, and the planes get moved in and out all the time. There's 4 in here right now. The yellow one is a 1936 N3N. The silver big propeller one over there is a 1956 T26 Navy Trainer. That's the Harley of the skies, I call it. Flies off and very acrobatic. That thing taxis down the runway just a few feet from the restaurant, and you can feel it thumping in your heart and in your bones. Really a neat plane. Great trainer. Lots of them still flying today. Many, many people learned how to fly airplanes in the service in this aircraft right here. Let me move over to the German Alpha Jet. This is the only one in the United States right here. It's made by the Germans. The Portuguese and Belgian Air Force still use it as a strike fighter. This is the only plane in here that's not a trainer. This is a real live fighter. Wow. Of course, all the armaments have been taken off, and the government makes it so that you can't use it in any kind of a threatening way. And that's why it says experimental on its side also. You can tell that plane is capable of going the speed of sound because the wings are swept back, indicating its ability to operate at very high speeds. Where the next plane you look at is the T-2 Buckeye. This is another Navy aircraft carrier trainer. It's got the tail hook in the very back that grabs the cable on the aircraft carrier. The wings come straight out parallel to the fuselage. That shows us that it's a slow plane. It also has tanks on the end of the wing tips. Tip tanks are called. And that also makes the plane relatively slow. Real fighter jets and aircraft carriers are 4 times the size of this plane right here, but it's a great trainer. To the best of my knowledge, there's only 3 other civilians that have a T-2 Buckeye. This plane also went to Oshkosh in the last air show in Oshkosh, Wisconsin this last summer. And that's kind of a museum. If you come to this area, stick your head in because there's helicopters here, power gliders, more jets. There are MiG-15 that we have here. We've got another MiG-17 coming, an FJ-4 Fury, Grumman Albatross, Mallards. Well, you never know what's going to come through the front door there.
Wow.
But there's a lot of flying that goes on here too. We also do flight instruction here, glider rides, tour operating, and instruction as well. So we've got a little neat facility here and a lot of opportunities to find adventure and good food.
Yeah.
Chickens every day. Every single day. 2.5 hours every day. Never in 2 years hasn't missed one day. Can you believe it?
We're on the top of Telly Bowl here. When they put the 2 lifts on Peaked Mountain, which are in the planning stage, what we'd like to do is we'd like to go over and cat ski Beards Mountain, which is this next one. Got Peaked Mountain, Fred's Mountain, where the ski area is, and the one off there in the distance with the white top, that's Beards, named after a local family. We'd like to cat ski that if we could.
this Table Mountain that's right in front of it, and then it drops down to Cascade Canyon. And on the other side, this angle you can't really see the saddle between the middle and the Grand. And Skylar and I went up. Oh, I don't know. We must have been about at 12,000 feet. You know, we're I don't know, 1,500 feet below the summit. It's kind of hard to tell. It's that little peak that's this side of the top of the summit. It's called Disappointment Peak because when you're standing on the other side, certain angles, that looks like the summit. And there's another saddle between that peak and the top of the Grand. And we went right up into that area. It was great. It was overnight.
I was going to say, it must take a bit of time for, you know, an experience.
Well, that one was, you know, people do it in one day, but I don't really, you know, I'd like to do it in 5 days.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
enjoy it.
why rush up there, you know?
Right.
It's just kind of being out there is part of it, so. Yeah, that was great. That was a highlight for both of us, I think. Just the camp out and the whole adventure. We had it planned all summer, so it was great. The Owen Spalding route, which is kind of on this side, it's a west-facing slope. It's a 5.5, 5.6 type route. You know, there's a lot of people who will do that free climbing, but most of the people, there is definitely some exposure on that route, for sure. So depending on your comfort level is kind of the determining factor. Most people, it's pretty typical. You get up to that area and you rope up and protect yourself.
Yeah, I imagine you want to have a few climbs under your belt before you go anywhere near that.
Yeah, well, it's just
No, you can go out there as a complete tourist. You take a 1 or 2 day course, and you know, they run you up to the.
Cool.
To the
Yeah,
saddle.
I took Patty, my ex-wife, up there 2 years ago. We went up, I think it was September 15th, and she'd never really climbed before. We did a little bit of stuff before. She's real athletic, and there's definitely some areas that were scary for her, but as far as the climbing ability, we motored right up there. It was great.
Watch out for that tree.
You gotta eat too.
Okay.
Really?
Just straight mush.
A little bacon? You want a little slice of bacon on one of those?
Well, what a beautiful day, and been having some great lunch, and sitting here with Scott Koff. And Scott, my goodness, you started skiing when you were 5?
Yeah, 5.
Out of Washington State.
From Washington State originally, yeah.
Yeah. Who were your influences when you started skiing?
You know, the obvious ones are, you know, my mom and dad, my brother, family. You know, as I grew older, I probably Ingmar Stenmark, I think, was one of my favorites.
Stenmark, I remember. He was a
Yeah.
Swede.
And
Great skier.
the Mayer brothers, mostly Alpine racers. Stenmark was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
for sure.
he was smooth.
Yeah, Wayne Wong.
Wayne Wong, I remember Wayne, yeah. So, did you get, in your skiing career, did you get involved in these young, like junior programs, or were you off a lot on your own, just whaling?
It's kind of mainly on my own. I wasn't, well, I did kind of growing up, just family, family stuff. Go out and we'd ski on the weekends, and wasn't in a whole lot of ski programs until I was, later in high school, and really started competing or getting a little more serious about it. So just kind of off on my own with some buds and go for it.
Wow. So you just had this natural propensity for skiing, your great connection to it.
Well, I don't know how natural it was, but I always had a passion for it. I've always loved it.
Yeah.
And it's still inside me today, for sure.
That's great. And did you ever, do like downhill racing? Did you race gates and stuff like that?
I've raced some in college. I went to Wenatchee Valley College, a ski academy, and so I did a bit of racing there. But my thinking of passions, it was I always loved skiing moguls and jumps. Air and moguls. It's kind of what I really enjoyed. So that just kind of followed my heart and went that direction. It seemed like with the racing, the thing I loved about mogul skiing was I could ski any place and all mountain depending on conditions, and it was kind of a form of training, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just developing good all mountain skills, and the area I really spent a lot of time at is a little area up Snoqualmie Pass called Alpental, and when the family started skiing there, it was in '69. It opened up. There wasn't any grooming. It was just moguls, top to bottom. It was just the way it was in those days. So it was.
So you built your legs up, and
yeah, I suppose.
You're amazing. Your legs have taken a pounding through the years.
Yeah, a little bit. I've got good genes. I've been lucky with my health and my body and so on, and I think I take care of it. But there's a little bit of inherited good genes too. Thank you, Mom, Dad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, up this morning you were out skiing at daylight after you've been ice skating last night, and then you went from there to what? You got a lot of good energy there.
Well, it's lifestyle. I enjoy it. It's like being out here. It's one of my definitely favorite places to be. I mean, you look behind us, this backdrop, and this is my world. I love it.
That's great. You'd rather be outdoors than in?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's why I thank you guys for being here. Because it gets me out here and skiing it. It's great.
It's great. Well, we're really grateful, I'll tell you. So eventually, like in your career, you kept on skiing, and then suddenly you became a world champion in moguls. I mean, that's really amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't know how suddenly it happened. It seems like a lifetime.
How many hours are involved in that?
If I had any idea how long my career would have lasted, I don't, I look back on it, I never, I spent pretty much my adult livelihood skiing and competing in some great travel adventures and great people. And that's one of the things here with our cat ski operation. It's like meeting people like yourself and all the different people we get to ski with, and kind of showing them, our world, and giving them like a great memory that'll be in their vault forever. It's really special. It's a special opportunity for me and Dana and all the guides. I mean, we kind of have. I think we all feel the same way, and we've got a great crew. We've got the greatest crew in the world. This is the greatest operation, I think. It's something for everybody. It's not the most extreme. We've got definitely some challenging conditions and slopes and so on, but it's, we're out here to put smiles on people's faces, and we do it every single day, regardless.
You do.
It's great.
You
It's
do.
great.
I mean, this is, to me, is an absolutely special day, as you said.
Yeah, for
This will
me
be in
too.
this vault.
For me too, for sure.
Yeah, this is great. Some different from the tour when you were, well, 5-time world champion. I mean, once is amazing for as big as this world is, and many people that there are in this world and competing, and to be a world champion in that atmosphere, but then to be 5-time world champion mogul skier, that's what a feat. And to be such a nice guy and so humble, and that's amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of people help me. Help me accomplish. I couldn't do it all on my own, and yeah, great adventures and great people, and top it off being a world champion. That's something I'm proud of, and in a good way, I suppose. And here I am now at Targhee, skiing powder. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. So it's a great transition.
Great. I don't know how things could be any better.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bart, great to talk to you. Here we are with that beautiful backdrop, Tetons. Now you've been driving today for us, and you've hardly ever driven this cat before, but what a job.
It's this was my first day I've ever taken guests out. You happen to be the first time I've ever done that with anybody, and it's pretty fun.
Wow. Yeah, you've done a terrific job, and you've been driving off and on with Scott, and Scott mentioned the staff. My goodness, the staff here is so good at Targhee. What a bunch of great people. Now you've been working with young children for what, 7 years or so, you said?
Yeah, I've actually worked up here on the hill for 8 years, taught up here for 7, and trying to get my foot in the door with these great guys and be a powder guide, and this is one way to go about it. Start becoming a driver. And
great. Now, you have obviously different skills, and in the summertime, you know about fishing in this area. I wanted to ask somebody about fishing. What are the rivers you fish? What do you catch?
Well, actually, fishing's just as good in the winter as it is in the summer. I've been out this past week up in Montana, which is real close to here, on the Madison, the Henry's Fork. I did that this past weekend. Yesterday I went over to the South Fork, but it was a little icy and cold. There was too much ice floating down the river, but fishing around this country is awesome. And in the summer, things start to unthaw, and you get all the spring creeks, and it's a lot of fun here.
So what do you have a thing called cut bow out here?
Yeah, it's
like a
it's a cross between a cutthroat and a rainbow.
Yeah.
And right now the cutthroat, they're really pushing to save the cutthroat. In fact, they encourage people around here to harvest rainbows. A lot of times these two fish intercross, and that's what comes out of it.
Because the native was the cutthroat here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So they're trying to preserve that.
Mm-hmm.
And was brook trout native here?
No, I think it come from the east.
Came from the east. It's a great little trout.
Yeah, it is. I like brookies. Yeah.
What kind of gear do you use when you go out typically, say in the wintertime like you're talking about?
For the most part, I nymph fish. Use small beadhead nymphs, pheasant tails, just different
similar to what we use back east.
I think it's a lot the same.
Yeah. And the fish are a little slower in the wintertime.
They are much slower. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the brown trout around here. Are they abundant and big?
Late in the season they start spawning, and that's the time to be fishing for brown trout. It's a lot of fun. You can catch them on their spawning beds, and hopefully throw something out there that they'll actually take. It's tough, but it's fun.
Great.
Oh yeah.
Now another thing you're involved in is firefighting.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I've been doing that for 14 years now. I got to do it to pay for my winter habit. I've enjoyed it. I run a fire truck in the summer, real close to here, about 60 miles north, real close to Yellowstone. And I've been around the country, seen a lot of neat things, a lot of neat places.
Had harrowing experiences, I imagine, firefighting.
I've seen some interesting things, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, what are some of the big fires that you remember? How many thousand acres that went up, or you got in the middle of, you know?
Oh, like last year in Durango, the Missionary Ridge Fire, Durango, Colorado. I don't even know how many thousands of acres that was for sure. Yeah, I've been on many a large fire in my career.
Wow. Well, I sure want to thank you, Bart. All you guys, it just made our day unbelievable.
Well, it's been great skiing with you guys. It's been a blast.
I appreciate it. I hope you get on the team.
Well, I think it's looking pretty positive.
Good. We'll do some skiing.
You should have heard Jeffrey when I said to Jody, you know, he worked like a mule that day, but the sad part is when he came out on the trail down Teton Canyon, he said, I smell like a mule because he's heading home to his sweetheart.
Oh, JC.
So, Reeky.
JC, you've been
Semi-local.
Semi-local, global, and fly fishing guide since you were 4.
I started fishing when I was 3 and skiing as well.
Wow. So
still doing it after all those years.
You're a great skier. We've been skiing with you, and you're terrific and a great guy.
The bad news is, in my realm, that's like an average. I'm like below average Joe skier.
It's all a matter of, you know, perspective, opinion, and all that. You know, you're great.
We like to tip them and rip them.
What about fishing? What are some of the places? Yeah, I want to find out about
my new
fishing.
favorite place is right in Jody's backyard, but I can't tell you where that is. Top secret, can't tell.
How many steelheads did you?
This year I beached 37 steelhead. I got a 39-incher, 2 38s, a 37-inch wild buck. Most of my fish were between 13 and 14 pounds. A lot of, you know, solid B-run fish.
Wow.
Mostly on wet flies. The skated fly wasn't working, but I caught 2 on dries. I would say the spectacular fish of the season was a miniature Thompson River heart stopper. You haven't been to BC? British Columbia is known for great steelhead fishing. In southern British Columbia, there's a river called the Thompson, the mighty Thompson. It's Grand Canyon-esque, and when the fish pull out of the Fraser and haul up through this canyon, they have to spurt and run through Class 5 rapids. And if you have the luck of hooking one, you might find that your hands are full. There's a reason they call them the heart stopper. The hens, which are the real heart stoppers, run between 15 and 18 pounds. And when you hook one, you might get to land it or not. The one I got on the beach this fall was probably 14 pounds. Peeled off probably 250 yards of line.
Wow.
Jumped 4 times. It was over here, it was over there, it was back over there. I was like, oh, I only got a 16-foot rod doubled up. And wait, where's my fish? No, that's it over there. No, that one. Oh, cranking like a fiend. I cheated. I used a barbed hook, I'll admit it. I hate losing steelhead.
Most guys wouldn't admit that. That's great.
Well, on tape, you know, I could be sent to jail since I am a guide. But
This,
there's a couple ways to look at it. These are micro barb hooks. You know, they still fall right out in the end. But I would say this year was among my better seasons. You know, if I get 30 fish in a season, that's a good year. You know, 20 is a successful year. A lot of people leave with 4 or 5 fish, and they're happy with that. But I'm kind of a numbers-oriented person, so production is important.
yeah.
We like to catch fish, rip powder. Let's see, what else do we like, John? Going fast. Oh yeah, that was it. Faster, 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 faster. That's what the coach's mantra is. Faster, 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 faster. Now, you're the interviewer.
What about the brown trout around here? Are they
Well-known
special,
zone
or they-
for brown trout. Yeah, the South Fork of the Snake's like only one of the world record potential fisheries in the world. Like 40-pound brownies live right over there.
40-pound browns? For a long time, that was the world record out of Scotland.
That's salmon-sized brownies, for certain. No, there's some big trout around here.
What do you think about the intelligence of the brown trout? Are they tough to catch?
The ones in the South Fork are notably difficult.
Yeah.
They hit streamers in the fall. You know, when they get in the pre-spawn mode, you can get them.
What kind of streamers are you talking about?
It's more the movement.
Yeah. Like
You could probably throw a half dozen different flies, and they'd work pretty well.
black-nosed dace or something like that.
Like I said, it's the movement.
Yeah.
Got to know how to move them.
You know how to move that. And you were using a 14-foot earlier, you said.
16 foot 1 inch is my new record high rod.
What do you spay?
Spay casting all the
Spay
time.
casting, yeah.
Single spay, double spay.
Yeah.
I think I could probably give you a lesson sometime when you come back on how to
Sure.
do it.
I'd love to.
You'd have fun. It's pretty awesome. I've actually played with it a lot and learned over the course of time, you know, what it takes to get the rod working. And a lot of people just don't know how to load up a big rod. They're just swishing the air and making all this noise, and it's
Gotta
not
load
the
that
shite.
energy.
Yeah.
Timing and
Oh yeah. Pop them out there.
yeah.
This year I was literally, my record in a tournament with a double-handed rod is 148 feet measured. This year I was fishing waist deep and throwing 140-foot fishing casts.
Wow.
That's how powerful that rod is. It killed me in the end. I don't want to tell you how ugly it got over there.
What do you got? Torn rotator cuff?
My shoulders get a little loosened up from it, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta watch the pop factor. How's it going? You better get in here. We got some local color. Those people are snow hoods.
Snow.
That's scary. That's like biker stuff going on over there.
brotherhood, neighborhood.
I'm worried about you too.
love.
It's about the love. I'm feeling the love now. I feel so much better.
You know, this is like the Dharma guys, you know?
I don't know, but I have read about them.
Yes.
I've never got to meet them, but it's a pretty awesome story.
Seems like you were right there with Caroline.
Well, you know, I think I've been on the road. I could tell you a few tales about that, but we better stop the tape.
Well, you know what? Before we do,
I'm just kidding.
you were telling this story about doing a 24-hour traverse, and it got conditions
There's
got bad.
couple quick survival tales. In the Wasatch, 24-hour push, attempting to traverse the entire range. It was going great until I got to Alta. Let's see, I was booting up Baldy. It was only about ass-deep pow-pow. You know Baldy. You've been there. Summit Baldy, descend to the top of the Snowbird tram. This is literal truth. Cat driver pulls up. Hello, it's only minus 26 with a 50-mile-an-hour north wind. Let's do the math. That's like 100 below Everest conditions. So I'm looking up at Twin Peaks. It's the middle of the night, of course, because it's totally illegal. You know, breaking all the rules, going through closed areas, this, that, and the other thing. I'm looking up, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go for it. And right at the little step where you have to commit, I just had this gut feeling. Stop the madness. I had my bivy sack, minus 30, down bag. Never even took off my lightweight touring shoes. staked out my bivy sack after I tamped out a little platform, threw the bag in there, sealed up. I must have passed out in about 5 seconds, right? I mean, one problem. Guess what happens at Snowbird every morning? Would that be avalanche control? Yes, it would. Crossfire, downrange, howitzers like in my face. Boo, 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 boo. I was like fighting I knew it was going to happen, but I was actually trying to sleep in a little bit. That didn't transpire as it turned out. So, after yelling ridiculously for about 5 seconds, I'm like, hello, nobody can hear you. Dove on the other side of the ridge because there's shrapnel, howitzers, live rounds. Hello, McFly, you're downrange. So finally, that episode of control is over. Plan B is the hand charge routes, right? They send their little patrol gangs out there with dynamite. I look over the ridge and there's 4 of Snowbird's finest, shall we say. And I'm like, hey! They're like, I know I kind of broke the rules, but I had a little situation last night. I was trying to push over the top of the twin, but it got a little weird, I was kind of like tapped energy-wise, and my gut told me to do something even though it was wrong. And they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, here's the deal. I know I broke the law, but if you guys try to find me, I'm just going to run away. And I know you can't catch me because I'm up here and you're down there. And they're like, okay, troublemaker, turn on your beacon, ski down. And I'm on these skinny racing sticks, Fisher SC Racing here. And I proceed to telemark out through the powder with, like I said, Snowbird's finest. And they just kindly escorted me off the mountain. Don't bother coming back.
How far did you actually make it in your traverse?
That probably was at least 18 miles, but it was the conditions that shut me down. It was like a gut thing, It's like when your body tells you certain things. I could have pushed through, but the top of Twin Peaks, it was probably really like Everest. With that wind, ridgetop winds, could have just been... And then, who knows, I could have just been blown off into the other side in the Mineral Basin. People do get blown away on mountains. I've had that experience in the Alps where you're literally hanging on to a skinny little knife edge ridge because the gusts are like, oh, it's only 3,000 feet on that side. But wait, it's 1,100 on that side. What's the lesser of evils? Hang on. But yeah, that was one of the chances. Here's another good story while we're rolling. Okay, so we're in Belize. This is a totally different subject, right? My knucklehead friend gets these free kayaks. I'm not going to mention the manufacturer. And we decide to do this idiotic thing. We're starting at Lighthouse Reef. We traverse the Blue Hole, that? Cousteau blew up the edge of it and dove in there. Yeah. We make it to the other end of Lighthouse Reef. It's blowing probably 25 knots. Pretty stiff trades. So we get this brilliant idea that we'll lash our kayaks together and sail to the next inland reef, which is the main one, right? One problem. Didn't use duct tape. Always use duct tape. Halfway across, both of our hulls are stuffed full of seawater. And I should have known this because I used to sail catamarans as a kid. Right. Plunging through the waves because of the forward pressure. The stupid little seals, which were lame, just, our hulls were full of seawater. Big problem. Small craft advisory. There's nobody flying around. Usually there's all sorts of CIA, and there's all sorts of shit going on down there, DEA, so on and so forth, right? Didn't see a plane, didn't see a boat, didn't see shit all day. So all this rigging that we've rigged is AFU'd, right? It's not looking good. We had a knife lashed on deck, cut all the rigging loose, trashed the sail, big square tarp, no big deal. Lash my friend's stern to my bow. And we tried doing it this way, but it's like paddling a wet log. Real fun, right? Out in 8-foot seas, great. So we try that, it's like not working great. So we come up with plan B, because his stern is light and my bow is light, but I'm literally like squirt boating in the sea kayak. Ironically, the one place I got hypothermia in the Caribbean. Wow. Immersion, right? If I keep paddling, I can keep my energy up, but I'm like squirt boating with waves crashing over my head, following seas. We still got at least 10 miles to go. Can't see land. I mean, it's still over the horizon, right? Little problem. But finally, he figures out if he straddles his boat and paddles with the stern forward, I'm, like I said, bow light. And there's like this counteracting effect because of the tether. It goes this way a little and then this way a little. We figure out, it's like, okay, we're moving. We got following seas, following wind. Finally, we're in sight of land. One problem, barrier reef. Not good. That's how sailors get to die, getting hung up in the reef. Yeah. Not too fun. So we're approaching the reef, and you know, we got to keep moving because I'm hypothermic, and we're approaching and following seas. And, you know how it is. Have you ever been in the tropics? Yeah. Sun goes straight overhead. We're paddling right at 270, right into the sun. Totally nuking my lips. Whole problem there, but we keep going and going. Sun finally goes down. We can see little palm trees and stuff on the beach. And we keep going and going and going. It's like finally it's decision time, right? Are we gonna stay out all night and risk shark attack? Who knows what's gonna happen, right? Or are we gonna go for it? I'm like, Kirk, I don't think, you know, I'm really in the mood to hang out here all night. Let's just keep rolling towards land. And we're paddling. And finally, ironically, I mean, this is like a mostly deserted reef area. There's a tiny little light. And I could see this one spot of sand. It's just this light patch. I have pretty good night vision. So I'm like, Kirk, let's veer a little to the northwest. You know, we're basically going right at 270, right? So we break to the northwest. All of a sudden, 8-foot seas just diminish 3 foot, 2 foot, 1 foot. We keep paddling. In the moonlight, there's a full moon, so that means increased tide, spring tide. I can see this little spot of sand, but you know how depth is weird in the moonlight? We're getting close, and all of a sudden we're bumping over the inner reef, and it's like, God damn, we're going to make it. We hit a tiny cut that we were aiming for from 18 miles away in the middle of the night. The locals in Belize, they'd look at us like we were ghosts. We deserved to die. I mean, that was one of those things that's one of the things I don't ever tell my mother, so when she sees this, you could say it was my evil twin. That was, you know, probably got a mental defect or something. That guy just, you know, he's kind of stupid sometimes. No, that was the ugly deal. He got wicked saltwater rash from straddling the boat. He was like, oh, I feel pretty good. You know, we hit the beach. I mean, the square of sand was just barely big enough for the footprint of her tent. We got a picture of all our gear just, you know, wet, saltwater, trashed food, clothing, all our crap. It's like a shipwreck, right? I mean, it is not pretty. The next morning, Kirk, he didn't heed my advice about taking ibuprofen. He's like, oh, I'm kind of sore. It's like, dude, that was like a full-on survival paddle epic. And when we were out there, he's like jerking around with me. I'm like, this is not even good, dude. This is pretty serious. He's like, well, I know you've had some close calls. I mean, how does this rate? And I said, Kirk, this is right up there, my friend. Right up there with all the other ones.
Yeah.
Missed it by that much, 99. But yeah, we actually completed the tour. It was ironic. There's a long story that actually goes along with that, where I used to work at this really nice guest ranch in Montana. We basically crashed a similar operation on the further end of the island, and they took us in for like $50, 3 square meals, bed, shower, gave us a boat ride into the mainland, washed all our gear, got all cleaned up. I had a big saltwater coral wound, had to get that healed up. You ever had a wound scrubbed out with a toothbrush? little H2O2. That's real fun. But we got all healed up and completed a 110-mile paddle. Basically the entire length of Belize Reef System.
Amazing.
It was a beautiful tour, hooked a permit, caught many bony fish. Saw some tarpon.
The permit is quite a fish, huh?
Oh yeah, they're fun.
That and the bonefish.
Bonefish are fun. Permit are more of a hunting game, you know. It's the mental. You gotta be persistent and really want it.
Yeah.
But they're tough. They're tough fish. I hooked jacks, which that's what a permit is. It's in the jack family. And one of my fly rods just exploded into pieces. Just, you know, had it hooped. And it's just like, God dang fish. Ruining my trip here, dude. But I was, you know, when I go on a trip like that, we're not talking 1 or 2 fly rods. Backups for sure. You got your bonefish rod. Usually in salt water, it's 8, 10, and a 12. Or you can do it the other way, you know, like a 9, 11, and a 13.
Yeah.
Whatever you like. It's all the same. But yeah, I don't have much money, but when it comes to fly rods and skis, I don't think I'm going to run out too soon. Jody's running out of gas. She's gassed. She got a little legless last night, as they say. A little legless. Yeah, it got a little stupid. So, let's see. Fishing locally, it's pretty good here. You know, we've had some problems with the drought. It's a factor in the West. Right now we're in the bubble, and everybody's freaking out over the moisture situation again after having incredible snowfall. I mean, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
We're not short of snow, as it turns out. But that powder stuff's overrated, Johnny Mac. You know how it is. Sunshine and ripping fast groomers.
And how about the Henry's Fork?
That's why I moved here.
So that's one of your favorite rivers?
It's been a good stream to me. It's beautiful, aesthetically pleasing. This year it was really hot on the lower end. Did major league damage. Every day I went over there, I hooked a fish that took me into my backing, like a bonefish, that's pretty good for trout.
Yeah.
They're like miniature Missouri River smokers. You know, 17, 18 inches, but built like a football.
Yeah.
Super fat, hot fish, jumping, running. Got some nice brown trout over there too. Real pretty ones. Silvery, just immaculate looking specimens, you know. Sharking, little emergers off the surface, and like that kind of skinny water. Pretty fun. Awesome hatches. Well known for its prolific hatches. Awesome bird life. Also known for the quality of the angler. It can get a little rude sometimes, but mostly the aesthetics and the ethic there keep the standard pretty high.
What's a well-known writer that obviously goes there quite a bit?
Well, Rene Harrop is like one of my favorite people. He's an artist, well featured in Fly Fisherman. Mike Lawson, Henry's Fork Angler, has been there, done that, seen him. He's a friend of mine. There's just, you know, an ongoing parade of great anglers that tour through the place, and then there's the hardcore locals that just can't seem to give it up.
Yeah.
Like, where are you going to go next, right? He's going skiing. This fishing talk, you know, fishing while there's ripping fast skiing, just wasting our time here, Jody.
JC.
Yeah. No, it's good, no?
Thank
you.
But
one last thing. Dana, the tips, they should be up, tails flat, you know, this twin tip.
Don't look at your skis, JC.
Don't look down. Don't look down. Might get vertigo. Is that good enough for now? It's good for now?
Oh, all right.
Gravity.
No, gravity is your friend.
It is.
Look at his face. He's just like, oh, so good. So good.
see if you need to. Pretty nice hanging out with your dad. I do it a lot.
Kind of slower.
Yeah.
Don't get saturated.
With who?
Good stuff, you guys. Nice ball. Excellent.
Started doing this.
79 and 80.
Yeah.
This is my 24th year.
Sleigh rides. Yeah. And how many horses do you have?
Up here, there's 4 up here.
There's 4 up here, and then you've
Got
got more
13
down
work
below.
horses, 13 mules, and 7 saddle horses.
Do you use the mules for the sleigh rides?
Now, just for camping and hunting, for guiding in the fall and summer. I work for the Forest Service in the summer, do all their packing and spraying.
Tell us a little bit about the history of the Tetons.
They was here when I come.
That's all you need to know.
Well, the Frenchmen found them. They used them. They were like a compass when they come from the east, when they come out. Trappers used them, the Indians did, to go back and forth. I helped when I was a junior in high school. I helped clear the lift up here. I worked 36 bucks a day. They fed us. We worked 3 weeks. And then we'd trade off. People would come back and do it. That was when it was first opened. Everybody could buy a $500 bond. It was an FHA loan. And we couldn't keep it up, so we sold it to Robinsons. And Robinsons had it for, I don't remember how many years. And then the kids didn't want it. The old man died. And one of the boys got killed coming out skiing. And then Dave Robinson, he sold it to Maury Bergmeyer. And Maury had it from 80, when did he have it? What did he buy it, 88? No, 86. 86. Bought it in 86. And sold it to George Gillette in Witch's-Bay Creek in 96. That's where we are today. This is a yurt, it's a Mongolian yurt. I've done tons of people in it. Good ones, bad ones, drunk ones, crazy ones. Youngest been 6 days old, 7 days old. Oldest been 93.
But the elk refuge is kind of unique because it provides habitat for large game species, for winter habitat for the elk. We try and tell people, hang on to your stuff so it doesn't fall out the sleigh. And what did I do? I